Hello, Flosstube friends, and welcome. I am so happy you are here. My name is Lisa, and this is my channel, Crossed by Floss, where I share the love of cross stitch and do some life blabbings. So much so that I felt that I needed to do a Stitch With Me segment to my videos, because if I did all the life blabbings that I have, then my videos, my normal videos, the WIP videos would be, 4 hours long. So I felt that I should probably just do some Stitch With Me videos so I can do a lot more life blabbings. So I think that this is Stitch With Me number 10, I believe. And what I do in my Stitch With Me videos is I start a new project, and one that I either have kitted up. I'm trying to go through my parade of kits and do those ones. And if I don't have something that, I feel that I can do while I talk, because it is actually very hard to talk and stitch sometimes and get your count right. Maybe that's just me, but I sometimes struggle with that. So I try to find projects that have like a really good repetitive border or something that is very easily countable. So for my Stitch With Me videos, and if I follow my schedule correctly, I would have 2 new starts every month. So that's been really, really fun. So today, like I said, is May 30th, and tomorrow is May 31st, which is Memorial Day. And I chose this pattern to do, and I know it seems a little weird, and I'm going to explain why, but I am going to do this Basket of Memories and Remember Me by Blackbird Designs. Now, when I saw this pattern, I know it's probably more geared towards, love and, remember me. But when I saw this pattern, it screamed my grandpa. Now, because tomorrow is Memorial Day, I am doing this pattern in remembrance of my grandpa, as well as those who have died for basically our freedom. And that's very important to me. So my grandpa was in the Canadian Air Force, and he saw some very horrific things, and he did not talk about those things in our family. And he had a couple of buddies that came back home. Everybody has been damaged, whether emotionally or physically, and a lot of them chose not to bring that home to their families, and so they have a circle of friends who they would talk, about the good old days, and what they went through, and their bonding experiences. And so really my grandpa did not talk a whole lot about the war and his experience. He really tried to keep it out of the house. And occasionally he would say some things. We have some, he's got medals, and we've got pictures of him in his uniform, and just, there's some memorabilia, but the stories themselves have died really with my grandpa, other than the things that he chose to share with us. And so in 2nd or 3rd grade, I believe, my son did a report. They do reports for Memorial Day or for Remembrance Day. And so he wrote a report on a family member who had been in the military. And so, of course, but the only person that we have in our family who was alive at that time and had been in the military was my grandpa. And so, I reached out to my mom and dad, and with the remembrances that they had and some things that my mom asked my grandpa at the time, of his memories that he wanted to share, we got a report, and for my oldest son to do. And it was very interesting because it was not something that I grew up knowing. And so anyways, when I saw this pattern, this really reminded me of my grandpa. He did not like the color red because, you know, it was not a fantastic memory. And so the color red in our house was not prevalent in any way, shape, or form. Now, interestingly enough, he worked at the hospital after he came out of the Air Force, and he was a tech. And, you know, so of course at the hospital they saw blood, but it was different because that's where it was supposed to be, you know, and so, but it shouldn't be at the house. And so, red, again, like I said, was not very prevalent. So, so when I saw this one and the color blue, he really liked the color blue. It was a color that he really loved, kind of that Wedgwood-ish color blue. And so when I saw this, I kind of thought, well, it really kind of reminds me of my grandpa, and with the Remember Me. And so there's a heart on the pattern, and so I'm going to replace that heart with like a poppy flower. And then the flowers in the basket as well, I'm going to try and make those a little bit more poppy-ish looking, poppy flowers. And so while they won't be the color red, hopefully they will kind of be that. And that, when I look at this pattern, that's what I see. And so in remembrance of Memorial Day, and this is the chart I'm going to do. So anyways, I am doing this on a 22 count Ada that I believe I purchased at Joann's, and I heavily tea dyed it myself. And I didn't bake it, but I just heavily tea dyed it. And of course it's not ironed. And but it's got some really good age modeling on it, which I just love. And then this chart is just one color, and it's, I believe, a Gentle Arts color. I don't remember which one, and my pattern is turned, so I can't tell you. But I'm doing the DMC equivalent, which is 169, I believe it is. And so I'm doing that DMC equivalent, and I really, really like this. Now, I did some test stitching on this fabric because I felt 2/1 was just a little too bulky. And so then I did 1/1, and it was just a little too light, and it's probably because of the color. And so then I did 2/2 to see what it would look like, and I didn't like that either. So what I've decided is I'm going to do 2 for the bottom leg, and then I'm doing 1 strand for the top leg. So I'm going to just go ahead and do the bottom leg for the whole entire pattern, and then I will go back in and do the top leg in one strand, and it looks great. Like, it looks great. So that's what I'm going to do. So grab your drink. Today, of course, I have, as always, my my flavored water, the French vanilla coffee that I drink that doesn't have any caffeine in it, but does have a lot of sugar. So and Mr. Odin is here as well, and he's trying to inch closer and closer. So you will probably hear him snoring away at some point in the video, and hopefully you don't mind that, but he is my constant companion. Speaking of Odin, okay, so grab your stitching, grab your stuff, and then you know, grab your drink, grab your craft. You don't have to be stitching. And let's do some life blabbings, because yes, I do have some things. And don't mind my mess in the background. That is something that I'm going to be working on this weekend, well, really today, and try to do some serious deep dive cleaning here, because it's gotten to be a little bit of a mess. And so yeah, so don't pay attention to the background. I have been painting my desk, my sewing table desk, and I finally got the drawers and basically everything but the top painted on the piece, and it's beautiful, you guys. I did it in 2 colors. I did it in a cobalt blue, no, not cobalt, coastal blue chalk paint, and then I whitewashed the top of it, and oh my goodness, it is beautiful. But what I needed to do was gel stain the top of the desk, and I wanted to do that in a nice dark walnut. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And so I went to Home Depot. Okay, so I just veered off from my original story, but I'll get back there. So I went to Home Depot to go and buy a gel stain that I was looking for to do the top of the desk. And they didn't have any, but they did have plants. They brought in more house plants, and they were $4.98 for the house plants. And so I picked up some more house plants. And at my Home Depot, they have they have a new grower, I guess, that they're trying out. And it is called Costa Farms, I think it's called. Don't quote me on that, but their plant name is called Angel Plants, and they are plants that I guess they are growing, but they're native to different countries. And so on the little stick inside the little plant, it tells you, you know, I'm from Africa, or I'm from India, or whatever. And so it's really cool. And so I picked up some plants that I've never ever seen before. Now, I do need to go back and look, because I had a viewer who told me that my mother of thousands was poisonous to animals. And, you know, I do think about it every once in a while. Like my daughter, I bought a plant subscription for her, and I got the pet friendly kit, you know, because she's got Rhea, Odin's sister. And, but when I've been buying plants, I haven't really, truly been thinking about whether or not they're poisonous to the 2 dogs here or not. And so when a viewer told me that my mother of thousands, and then I've been looking for a mother of millions, both those are poisonous to animals. So it has now gone into a room that Odin doesn't go to, and it's up on a nice high ledge that will catch all of the little baby plantlets that drop. Oops, that's not the right one. That drop, and so hopefully it will be safe. But now all of these new ones that I bought, I need to go and Google their names and see if they're poisonous to dogs or not. And if that's the case, then they will go up nice and high, or somewhere that, you know, Odin can't get to. So I'm not concerned about the other little one, because she's small, she's tiny, and she's to the ground. And as long as it's not, you know, the leaf is not on the ground, it'll be fine for her, because she can't, you know, she can't reach most of the plants. And frankly, she doesn't touch the plants. So Odin and his tail, and sometimes his little sniffy sniff is in the plants. He likes the smell of wet soil. So, yeah. So anyways, I counted up all of the plants that I have in my house now, and I have 47 house plants, and that's not including the succulents or the, oh my goodness, he's ridiculous. I'm sorry. He's getting louder and louder. Odin. That's a boy. 47, yes, house plants in various sizes, and that's not including the air plants or the succulents. And ooh, succulents, did you guys know? Okay, I don't know how I found this out, but I was searching for, like, I have pearl strings succulents, but I was looking for a string of dolphins. Oh yeah, string of pearls. That's what I have. And I was looking for a string of dolphins because those are really cool. And an Etsy shop popped up, and I was like, you can buy plants from Etsy? Oh my goodness. I have slid down a hill, you guys. So I bought succulents off of Etsy. And I had to buy just enough to get to the free shipping, of course. And so yeah, that happened. And they all came. They're beautiful. They're beautiful. They're just cuttings of the succulent, and you know, they have to be repotted. But I now have a whole new host of succulents. It's ridiculous. But keeping them alive, you guys, oh my goodness, the stress. So just this morning, in fact, I was, you know, I do it every day. I do a perusal of all of my plants and see how they are. And, you know, I have them on a water rotation now and everything, but some of them dry out a lot faster than others. And the coffee plant and the waffle plant are two that, you know, just dry out incredibly fast. And when they start drying out, man, they are dramatic, and they need water right away, and they look like they're dead. And so my waffle plant this morning, we had to do some CPR. So it's being revived. It's reviving itself in water right now, and it looks much better. But when I first saw it, I was like, oh, how did I? And it's kind of hiding behind some taller plants a little bit. And so when I first saw it, I was like, oh, those leaves don't look good. And then I realized it was the plant, and I was like, oh. So had to do a little rushing to the water and chit-chatting with it and telling it, cannot die, cannot die. You are not going to be my first to die. Oh my goodness. And then, yeah, but 47 plants. Oh my goodness. And I continue to buy more. Like every time I go to Trader Joe's, I look at the plants there, and I always end up buying one to bring home, whether it's a plant or an herb. They have some herbs right now, and though I did bring home a basil the other day, and it does not. It's not looking good. I don't know what has happened, but it's not looking good. Okay, let me do a really quick count here and see how far I had to go down. This is just a small little piece. Not that big at all. So yeah, and now, you know, of course, Mr. G being on the road, and, you know, I tell him, oh, I bought a new plant today, or I bought some new plants today. And he jokingly said to me, so when I come home, am I gonna have to, like, you know, move the jungle away to be able to find you? Wade through the plants? And I'm like, come on, it's not that bad yet. Notice the word yet. I said, when we move, I'm gonna need just a truck. Like, we're gonna have to rent one of those U-Haul vans just for the plants themselves, because they can't go, you know, and they have to be like climate controlled. And yeah, I said to him, when we move eventually, we're going to have to rent just a truck just for the plants, because they're coming with me, and hopefully they all survive. It's a struggle, you guys. It's a struggle. So yep. And then speaking of plants and gardening, so we've had a lot of rain here in the last couple of weeks. There's been a couple of days of sun, but we've had a lot of rain. And in my garden, I have had a lot of weeds. So last night, I spent a couple of hours outside, and had to, you know, de-weed my garden. And I talked to it yesterday, and I told it, you know, that this was not okay behavior, and that, you know, it wasn't supposed to bring out those weeds so fast. And, you know, let's not be ungrateful. Like, I gave you nice topsoil. I, you know, did all the things. I water you. I give you love, you know, the whole thing. And then, so ungrateful, gave me a ton of weeds. So that's what I did yesterday after I bought more plants. And I did finally find some gel stain. I had to go to another Home Depot. Actually, the other Home Depot did not have it either. I had to go to my Ace store. Oh, Dan. Bye-bye. Oh, goodness. Oh. We have a little problem here. Oops. Okay, I have to go back and fix that. We'll chit-chat while we do that, because I did not catch enough of the fabric in that one, and it's noticeable, but clearly not noticeable enough as I was chit-chatting and going back. But thankfully it's not that far back, and we're gonna fix it here. There it is. Okay. But yes, so that's my plants, and currently my little air plants, they are being soaked. I've been learning all kinds of things. So I called my daughter one day, and I'm like, there's something wrong with my peace lily. She's like, oh my gosh, Mom, what is the matter? And I'm like, well, one of the flower thingies, you know, the white leaves, it has turned brown, completely brown. And she's like, uh-huh. And I'm like, we're on FaceTime, and I'm like, here, you need to have a look at this. And so I flip the camera, you know, so that she can see it. And she goes, Mom, that's totally normal. And I'm like, oh, it is? And she deadpans me, and she says, Mom, if you don't, you know, you can't have plants if you don't know how to take care of them. It's like, hey now, hey. Okay, fix them. So yes, so I guess, you know, I'm taking her advice, and I'm starting to look online and stuff. But I said to her, why would I look online when I can just call you? I mean, come on, girl. You're supposed to be my plant helper. But anyways, so yep, that's me plant story. And yesterday I did, I went to Home Goods and found some new cash pots to put my plants in. So that was super cool. And yep, so that's what I did. So okay, I also went to Hobby Lobby. Did you guys know that they stopped their coupon? Like, I know I haven't been receiving their emails for a while, but I guess I just did not clue in. And, you know, so I'm like at the checkout, and I'm like, you know, I don't know how come, but I can't get my app to work, and I can't find the coupon. And she looks at me, and she's like, oh, we stopped doing our coupons back in February. And I'm like, what? Like, I know I've shopped here, but everything I've bought, you know, has always been on sale, and so I've never needed a coupon. But that's how I would get my fabric. I would, you know, very, very few times do they put the cross stitch stuff on sale. And so I always, you know, if I had a couple of extra dollars, and I would buy some fabric, just some generic white or ivory fabric in Ada, and just, you know, have it in my stash. And she was like, oh yeah, no, we stopped doing our coupons. And I'm like, are you taking competitors' coupons? Because what is happening? She goes, no, we have such great sales that, you know, we just do, you know, run through. And I'm like, well, do you put the cross stitch stuff on sale? Because I'm gonna need to know when that happens. Oh, goodness sakes. Yeah, I have to say, I was actually shocked. I did not realize, and I guess I should have clued in that I wasn't getting emails from them anymore. But I didn't. Because really, let me be honest, I don't go through my emails that often. And when I do, I have to do like a big purge because I have hundreds of them. And yeah, so yeah, no coupon at Hobby Lobby anymore. I was shocked. Shocked. Just shocked. Okay, so so we've talked about moving and you know, kind of where to move to, and I'm having a hard time with it. Like I really am. You know, we've been in this house for 22 years. It'll be almost 22 years because I bought this house in June or July. Anyways, it was in the summertime, and it was I think I would have been 8 months pregnant with Mitchell, I think, with my youngest, and he just turned 21. So yeah, maybe it was August we bought the house. Anyways, August, September, October, November, December, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, that makes sense. No, it doesn't. I must have been 5 months pregnant. Oh my goodness sakes. I was 5 months pregnant. And luckily for us, we bought a house in the same neighborhood that we were renting a house from. So really all we had to do was, you know, I would fill up Rubbermaid containers and just, you know, drive them over to the house here, unpack those, and then, you know, go back to our rental house and you know, do the same process over and over. And then when we had to move the big furniture, we just rented a U-Haul and a couple of work friends and moved everything, you know, in a day. So it was really, really nice because I was in the same neighborhood, and so I could come and, you know, clean. And I was so pregnant, and I was, oh man, I was very large with that child. I gained a lot of weight with him, and so my energy level was not fantastic. And so it was nice the way that we did that by buying in the same neighborhood. And it was seriously, the house was right around the corner, and so I could take my time, you know, throughout the month and get that done and unpack. And so then we didn't have to get a whole bunch of boxes and, you know, do the whole move across. It was just a much nicer process. But this next time that we move, that's not going to be the case because we'll be moving states. And Mr. G really would like to go to Texas. And not having ever been to Texas myself, I don't know anything about Texas. And so everything I know is from online. And so if any of my viewers are from like the Fort Worth area of Texas, that's kind of where we're looking at. And you have any advice or good neighborhoods to move to, or that kind of thing, I would really appreciate it because I'm struggling. I'm struggling not only, you know, how to put this house up for sale. You know, I've lived in this house through a fire and a divorce, and you know, it's a place where my babies grew up, and this is the house that they really know. And you know, while my first three were 9, I think that the stage was 6, 8, and 9 is how old the first three were. And so really this has been their house, you know, that they've known, and really this is the community they grew up in and the schools that they went to. And so I'm struggling with that. Plus I actually do, with the exception of a few people, really, really love my neighbors. And it's just such a great neighborhood. And I'm struggling with that. And then I'm also struggling because that would mean that I would be leaving not only my baby behind, who's in Oregon, but also my daughter and the little. And, you know, I've been a part of the little's life for all of her life. And, you know, she comes to my house daily for school. And, yeah, so that that is a huge struggle for me, on how to leave them. And my daughter mentioned that there could be an opportunity that they may also move to Texas. And yeah, and if that happens, I will move in a heartbeat. I will get rid of the house, no problem, blah, blah, blah. But leaving her and the little, my daughter and I have a very good relationship. And then, of course, the little's my little. So, yeah. But anyways, if you live in the Fort Worth, Texas area and you have any advice on the area, I would really appreciate knowing a little about that. We're thinking that, we'll take some time and drive there and, take a look at neighborhoods and figure out where to go. But Mr. G actually was in Texas, what is this? Earlier in the week. And so he kept sending me pictures and stuff from the truck, and he was like, "Oh, Lisa, I really like it here, and they're just so friendly, and they're friendly to truckers, and yeah." So, and I guess it's kind of where his family is from, and he just likes the whole vibe and everything. So yeah. But what holds me here is my family, and that's hard, and he's been a single guy for quite a while, and while he has children, he's got 2 sons. His oldest son is also 21, but he's always lived with his mom or grandma, and he sees Mr. G kind of when he wants, and they have a very loose or they had a very loose child arrangement, and so his son, he would spend some time with us on the weekends, and kind of, his school and his friends and that kind of thing kind of came first for him. That was really, his focus, and but he would hang out with us kind of when he wanted to, and we didn't really force it. He was a teenager, and they kind of have their own lives, but I mean, we were always in contact with him on the phone and stuff. Mr. G he is a good dad, really good dad, and talks to his son all the time, and to this day, his son's 21, and he checks in regularly and sees how things are going, and that, but Mr. G is kind of one of those pick up and go kind of guys. He's not sentimental. Like when I sold his house, and the first year that he was on the road trucking, he decided it was silly for him to pay for a mortgage when he was never at his house, and so we agreed, and he just very happily was just like, sell the house, and everything in it, like, these are the few things that I want, everything else can go. And I'm like, what? I'm not like that, and I'm very sentimental, and for him, he was like, I just want pictures of the boys, and our pictures, and the paperwork that I need, and other than that, everything else can go. And I'm like, what about the furniture we just bought, and what about the dishes we just bought? And he's like, no, it all can go. Like, I can buy it again if I need to. And I'm like, oh, I'm not so not like that. I'm like, oh no, that's my favorite, gotta keep that. Oh no, that can't go either. No, that has to stay. Yeah, I have a hard time letting go, and he can let go very easily. So for him, a move is gonna be super easy. He is like, okay, I have a mission, let's get it done. And I'm like, oh, okay, let's think about this for a really long time, and let me procrastinate about getting things done, and yeah. But I think we're looking at one of the catalyst for us in moving is retirement. And, you know, both of us are in our 50s. And while, you know, retirement is still a little ways away, it's looming. And we both realize that Washington State is not going to be, oops, that's the wrong one too. Washington State is not going to be the state to be able to retire in. And cost-wise, it's just so expensive. And frankly, you know, if I was going to rebuy my own house in my own neighborhood, I couldn't do it right now. You know, neither one of us, I mean, yeah, I guess we could together, but, you know, I'm outpriced in my own neighborhood, and just cost-wise, we realize that, you know, we just know that we are not going to be able to, retire here. And so that's one of the things. And, you know, yeah, he's a trucker, and he wants to go somewhere where it is trucker friendlier. Washington State is not a super friendly trucker area. And, you know, there are jobs, but, you know, he does long haul for a reason. And so, you know, there's a few things like that. And my son has expressed an interest in getting his CDL as well, and potentially trucking as well. So if that's the case, then, you know, setting them up in an area where it would be a good hub for them would be very beneficial to them both. And, you know, I don't mind driving, and my daughter does have a spare room, and you know, the little will always come and see her Grammy, but it's different when it's not on a daily basis. Okay, I'm gonna need to count. I guess that's as good a reason as any to move, but I guess, you know, for me, I just think, oh my goodness, you know, starting over again, and in a new place, and, you know, both of them, they'll be gone. You know, if my son does like truck driving, he is going to shadow Mr. G for the next couple of weeks and kind of see what it's like. And then if it is something that he thinks he might like, then he is going to go to CDL school and get his CDL. And but then that means that both of them will be gone, you know, on the road, and then I'll be by myself. So, you know, having to new friends and get acquainted again and that kind of thing. Yeah. So anyways, I'm you know, change happens, right? So, yep. But that's what they're thinking, so we'll see. And, you know, like I said, if my daughter, if they make that decision, that makes it so easy. That would make it so very easy. But if they don't, of course, it'll be a little harder, especially if she decides to have more squishies for me to squish on. But you know, that just means that, okay, so I spend some more time here, and it will be more a case of, you know, just driving here a lot more, or flying and spending more time here. And yeah, so yep, so those things are in the pipeline. So we'll see how things go. We'll see. But yep. Oh, but packing up this house is daunting. You know, it's got 21 years of memories in it and stuff, and I keep buying stuff. And it was funny because the other day Mr. G says to me, you know, how about we buy a truck? And I thought he meant like a truck, like a long haul truck. And I'm like, babe, we're not there yet, you know, and let's get a couple more years under our belt and figure out exactly, you know, what we're doing and that kind of thing. And he goes, no, like, I mean, like a personal truck. And I was like, oh, I mean, because I'm a truck girl. I learned to drive in a 3/4 ton. Scared the living daylights out of my dad going around a corner, but I learned how to drive in a 3/4 ton. And I love trucks, and if it had been me, I would have, that's what I personally would have bought. But that was not what we did. And ooh, okay, I'm gonna need to do a little county count. Just hang on here, guys. Yes, I just love a truck. My dad, he bought a Tahoe, and I love driving that Tahoe. It was great. It was, you know, the big one. And I just, oh, I love driving that. And yeah, I just like a truck. I like being up high. I just like everything about it. So when he talked about that, I was like, yeah, but you know what that means, right? And he goes, yeah, I realize it probably means more antiquing and more furniture. But at first he tried to preface it with, oh, well, you know, we could really use it for like the gardening and, you know, for moving things and going to the dump and, you know, getting rid of stuff and whatever. And I'm like, yeah, that all sounds great, but you know what that means, right? He's like, yeah. And so when I mentioned it to my daughter, she goes, yeah, he does know that it means like we'll be using it to move furniture and stuff, right? You get me. Oh, goodness sakes. It's pretty funny here. And he's like, yeah, maybe I should rethink that. You know, I'm good with it, you know, for dump runs and gardening and everything, but no, woman, no more furniture. Like, I can't help it, babe, when somebody posts, you know, that there's a new hutch or whatever. I'm like, right now I only buy the things that I can get into my car, but you know, getting a truck, game on. He's like, yeah, I'm afraid of that. He's like, we already have so much furniture, where are you gonna put it? And I'm like, don't you worry about it, I'll find a place. He's like, you don't even have time to refinish the furniture that you have. And I'm like, that does not matter. Sir, that does not matter. Oh man, at least he's very tolerant. He's such a sweet man. I got super lucky. I really did. But yep. All right, guys. Well, other than that, okay, so something new has happened to me personally. And this might be TMI for a few, but menopause. So I have gone into that special time that menopause has hit really bad. So I'm sorry for any male viewers who are watching, but maybe this could be a PSA, especially if you have a significant other who is also in the same age bracket as me. And, you know, some things that you should and should not do with your significant other. But I've really had to retain a good sense of humor over this whole entire thing. And so funny. So when I lived, you know, back home in Canada, and my mom and I have a pretty good relationship. It's definitely not as close as my daughters and mine. I was much closer to my dad, but we have a pretty good relationship. And, you know, we did a lot together, and we would shop and that kind of thing. Well, I can't remember if I was pregnant with one of my children or not. But anyways, my mom went full blown into menopause. And I would laugh at her. You guys, karma is horrible. I would laugh at her, and she would, like, all of a sudden, you know, we'd be in an air-conditioned mall, right? An air-conditioned, like, I'm so cold, I'm thinking I might need to buy, like, a sweater, right? And she is now beet red and fanning herself with her hands and, you know, anything that she can. And she's like, is it hot in here? Is it hot in here? And I'm like, no, Mom, it's really not. And you know, she would be dying, and I would laugh at her, and she would say things to me like, you know, just you wait, you know, this will happen to you too, blah blah blah. And I'm like, no, it won't. Oh, it has, in a big way. And so, you know, like, just the poor guy, funny, the poor guy yesterday at Home Depot, I think he really thought there was something wrong with me, because um, we were outside and talking about plants. This very sweet boy helped me with some potting soil. And you know, we go outside, and then all of a sudden I turn beet red. My forehead is sweating, you know, and we've got masks on and everything. And in my mask, like, it's hot. It is hot, and I am like sweating, and like my forehead, I'm sure I am glistening, and I'm fairly certain I'm beet red, but you know, most of your face is covered by a mask, right? And then I also wear glasses, so then there's another portion of my face that's kind of covered. But yeah, I think that I alarmed the poor man. He was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Okay, there's not enough clothes in this world that I can take off. Like, seriously." Oh my goodness. And I've started to layer for a reason, so that I can take things off and put them back on, because I get hot, super hot, like dripping sweat hot to freezing. Like, my feet are cold, my hands are cold, like even my nose is cold, everything's so cold. And I'm like, okay, I need more clothes on. And I'm sure that people are like, yesterday it was really warm and I'm wearing a sweater, and then I'm taking the sweater off, and then I'm wearing a sweater, and then I'm taking the sweater off. And there's been numerous times that Mr. G and I, you know, when he's been home and we've gone to Costco, and I turned to him and I said the same thing my mother said. Is it hot in here? And he looked at me and he's like, no, hon, it's Costco. It's, you know, it's air conditioned cold. And I'm like, no, it's hot in here. And I'm like, I am taking off my jacket, and I'm like draping it, and I'm like moving my shirt away from my body in a fan. Like, it was so pathetic. And then at night, you know, that whole hot and cold thing again. And he keeps trying for us to get a ceiling fan in the bedroom, and I am resisting. I don't know why I'm resisting, but I am, because I'm stubborn that way. And 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 he is like, oh, you just need a ceiling fan in here, and we'll get you a remote control one so that you can turn it on and off. And I said, you do realize that not only will it be going on and off all the time, all night long, I'll be like, hot, cold, hot, cold. But then chances are real good that with the little, you know, the remote will go hiding somewhere. And then, yeah. So I've bought a bunch of like little fans. I have one by my night table that, you know, when I get super, like at 4 in the morning, like dripping, drenched, I've got the fan going. And some personal ones. And he's like, well, why don't you go to the doctor and go on like hormone pills and stuff? And I said to him, listen, Mr. G, I have enough hair on my face as it is without the hormone pills. I don't need more. It's hard enough with the maintenance as it is. Don't need more. Oh, goodness sakes. I mean, seriously, I've had to retain my sense of humor, because not only do I like get hot and cold, but I've lost my marbles. Like, I don't remember things that I say. I lose words that, I mean, that has always been a thing. But yeah, I forget constantly what I'm supposed to do. And I'm sure that all this heat is baking my brain and making me stupid. A little bit. Oh goodness. But through it all, I've had to retain a sense of humor. And when, you know, like when I went to go and see my youngest son in Oregon, we're sitting on the couch together, and he turns to me all of a sudden and he says, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, why? And he goes, Mom, you're a furnace. And I said, yeah, and he does have a ceiling fan in the living room, and it was going, and he goes, are you seriously, are you okay? And I'm like, yep, it's just menopause. And he looks at me and he goes, didn't you go through that a couple of years ago? And I said, no, hon, that was pre-menopause. That was just a joke and, you know, a lead up to what is really happening now. And he goes, oh, Mom, I'm real sorry. I'm like, yeah, I know, it's evil. So, you know, if you have a significant other and they are going through this wonderful phase of their life, as I am, you know, just retain your sense of humor as well, because there are times that I have no patience. I'm just so, I will growl at you like there is no tomorrow. You just have to retain your, you know, and maybe throw some ice cream and or chocolate or coffee at them, and then just back away slowly. Back away slowly and retain your sense of humor, because apparently it will pass. But yeah, that's what I've been going through the last, like, oh, it's been a couple of months now, I guess, but it's really leading bad right now. So yeah, it's it's interesting. I mean, you know, showers a couple of times a day, and my chocolate consumption has gone up a lot, and so is my ice cream. And I actually I'm not an ice cream eater, like that's not my thing, but ice cream sandwiches recently have been that's been my thing. And so those are always stocked. Mr. G makes sure that I have a plentiful supply before he leaves. Between that and my coffee, he makes sure that I am stocked. And but yeah, it's a new ride, that's for sure. So oh, to, you know, and when I was younger, funny, I always thought, oh, I wasn't going to live past 40. You know, 40 seemed ancient to me. And while, you know, my grandparents were obviously older than 40, I was like, okay, well, they're dinosaurs and real old. And yeah, but somehow in my head, I just always figured I was not going to make it past 40. Well, I have. And I'm getting to go through special things. It's real awesome. Like, you know, most of us do. So most of us women do. So, but yes, hang on to your sense of humor and know that it will pass. And one of the advice that I got from one of my bosses was buy a bunch of, like, go to the dollar store and buy a bunch of those, like, personal, you know, plastic or cardboard, paper hand fans, and put one in every bag you own. You know, put one in your glove box, put, you know, everywhere. And she said, you know, I'd be at church and, you know, I'd be fanning myself, and, you know, all the little old ladies are like, yeah, she's feeling the spirit of the Lord, you know, and everything is good. And she's like, no, I was just having a hot flash. And she's like me too, you know, she didn't want to go on hormone therapy because of the hair issue as well. And you know, maybe it's gotten better, but I am just, we're just gonna, it shall pass. And in the meantime, humor, personal fans, you know, some electric fans next to you. If you so choose to have a ceiling fan in your bedroom, I'm gonna resist for a little while longer. And yeah, and just, you know, my hand washing has gone up a lot more, even through COVID and everything, because my hands sweat. And so, you know, while I'm working on my cross stitching, and so then I need to then go and wash again. So okay, well, I guess that, you know what, we're just gonna call it good. We're gonna end it there today, and see how little this is gonna be. It's tiny. It's so tiny. We'll find out how well it really looks. I might redo this on a bigger count fabric too. But right now, I mean, it's super cute, and I'm gonna continue on. I'll do a little bit more stitching on this tonight. And really, my plans are, it's late afternoon. I kind of procrastinated all morning. So now I'm going to wax my drawers. I'm going to wax the drawers for my desk and put the first gel coat stain on top, and then try and go through this monstrosity of piles that I have around me, and in hopes that not only can I find my Reflections of Canada chart and fabric, but also, even though May's almost over and the new numbers for WIPCO have been called, I still really would like to find out where Cinnamon Stars is. So that would be real lovely to find. And I've also misplaced my Archangel, my Mirabilia Archangel, which, again, weird. So I would really like to find that. I might have to follow Odin and see if he's got a Heidi stash somewhere. I'm sure he doesn't. I'm just joking. But seriously, I don't know where I put this stuff. So anywho, that's what I'm going to be up to today. And tomorrow I will be starting another Mira. Yes, it is Memorial Day, and it is the last Monday in May. But I'm going to still do, because I committed to do Mira a Monday. Yes, each Monday in May. And so I'm just going to continue out the week, because it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun to do. So I hope that you enjoy your Memorial Day weekend, your long weekend. And if you celebrate Memorial Day, remember those who died for the things that we have today. So, and the freedom that we have, and their sacrifice, really, for the love of their country. So that is all for me today. I hope you have a good one, and I hope that you will join me in my next video.